Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So this video I want to talk about prepaid carriers from the major carriers that are out there, which is Sprint, Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. Those are the major four that everyone knows about. So I want to talk about prepaid carriers and how to live unlocked. You know, pretty much you can have, if you stay with prepaid services, you can pretty much roam about and go wherever you want to go throughout carriers. You don't have to worry about any kind of contracts or anything like that, because with the prepaid section of carriers, you're paying full cost for the phone in most cases, or you're bringing your own phone, and then you're just buying their services for their plan. So I've been with, I've always had a prepaid T-Mobile line around for, like to test phones and things like that, or just to have it as a backup phone number. But I've been with T-Mobile for probably a total of 23 going on 24 years as postpaid. Now, postpaid normally means that you're under some kind of agreement with the company. You're financing a phone from them, or you're under a 2-year agreement or something like that. And prepaid is just that. You prepay for the services. But I've been with T-Mobile for a very long time. And I kind of ran into a dilemma with T-Mobile as far as their calls go in this very office. This is where I spend a lot of time, not just for YouTube, just period. Making business calls, making calls, period. Because I'm one of the few people in the world, I guess, that actually uses their cell phone for calls. Because I got rid of my home phone, like the landline. It was not expensive. It was too expensive to maintain. So it's better to just have a cell phone. So I use T-Mobile for business calls all the time. I used to. I recently switched my main phone number to another carrier, and the calls have been fantastic. No drop calls. I don't sound like a robot anymore, and it's just good, which is what I need. So my main SIM card is now on another carrier, and I have it inside of this S8 right here, and I'm loving every minute of it. I'm loving the phone. I'm loving the service is more important. Being able to make phone calls now, and people say, "Oh my God, you don't sound like a robot anymore." I'm like, that means they're noticing, what I'm doing, so they know something's different. So first, I want to ask, what carrier do you have if you're living unlocked, or you just live with prepaid? What carrier do you have? Please leave that comment below and explain your reason for being with that carrier, and how it's best for you. I know sometimes coverage is always going to be an issue, but a lot of times, with the prepaid, it's always like a watered down version. For some companies, it's a watered down. I shouldn't say always. For some companies, it's a watered down version of their main their postpaid side. Like, you don't get precedence over them, so they're gonna have more rules and restrictions on the prepaid side. Like, we're not gonna have your data go above this amount, or we're not gonna have your speeds go above this amount. They're prioritized under the postpaid people because they're paying more money, or they're in some kind of agreement. We would really rather keep them than to keep you, because you can leave at any time. So with that being said, I want to know who your carrier is, but I want to start with Sprint. I've actually never had Sprint's prepaid service, and I really haven't heard of anybody who has Sprint prepaid service. But Sprint does have a prepaid service on their network, and they have also companies like Boost and Virgin. Those are pretty much Sprint as far as I can see it. Sprint is probably the least favorite of a lot of people, and everybody has their own reason why they would prefer not to go with Sprint. Didn't make this video to bash Sprint or any other companies, but Sprint actually has some really good deals on phones for the postpaid side. But the prepaid side, I'm looking down because I'm getting the shout out to Sony. This is a banging phone. I'm getting the website pulled up. Sprint was the only one I couldn't find their prepaid section, and finally, now that I'm recording, it's loaded up. So Sprint has 3 plans on their actual prepaid section, from what I can see. $40 a month gets you 3 gigs of high-speed data. $50 a month gets you 5 gigs of high-speed data, and unlimited gets you $60 a month. But there's some fine print behind that unlimited, from what I understand. You do get throttled after a certain amount, which all of these prepaid carriers are probably going to throttle you after a certain amount of data being used. If you're using 30 gigs a month on your phone, that's just crazy. Who's on their phone that much? I know people are, but I just don't see how a person can do that. An older person, I can say. A young person, definitely. I can see how you could probably do that because you guys probably never put your phones down. You guys probably never put your phones down. But Sprint, those are the offerings from Sprint. You know, that's not very appealing to me because to me there's not a lot of options. But there's some options. Now, taking a look, and again, I don't know anybody who has Sprint prepaid. So if you have Sprint prepaid, please let me know in the comments what their service is like. Because I just kind of wondering, you know, is there anybody out there using Sprint prepaid service? Because I'm definitely not. So moving on to AT&T. AT&T has several plans for their prepaid section. They've got $30 a month for they have auto pay options where they knock off $5 on each one of these plans. So you've got 30, 45, 65, 30, 45. Yeah, and let me click on one of these here. Let me see, because theirs isn't listed. It's kind of weird. So $65 a month gets you, with AT&T gets you unlimited data, max speed. here's the kicker now. Unlimited data speeds. Max speed is 3 megabytes per second, and you can go up to 22 gigs of unlimited data with them. You know, that's technically still LTE though. You know, you can't complain about that. But and so you know and you get $5 off if you do auto pay. But then they have a $30 plan, and then they have a $45 plan. And the $45 plan, you know, is going to get you 6 gigs of high-speed data, and so on and so forth. So there's always going to be some kind of fine print. And I bet this $30 plan has no data. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. If it has data, I'd be shocked. Yep, it's just talking text, and you got to use Wi-Fi for data. So AT&T's offerings aren't the best. Definitely not the best as far as their plans go. And that's just kind of what it is. Now let's switch to Verizon. Verizon has 4 plans, and most of them kind of suck. They're just like the other ones. They kind of suck. $40 gets you 2 gigs of high-speed data. $50 gets you 5 gigs. $70 gets you 10 gigs. $80 gets you unlimited. But there's too many stipulations behind these. And remember, all of these companies are going to throttle you at some point or another. So you got to be mindful of that when you're picking the right carrier. Now, I'm just kind of talking about the plans now, but I'm going to get into actually usage in a second here. And then last but not least, T-Mobile. T-Mobile obviously is probably going to offer some of the best pricings on their plan. They just introduced a new plan that's $45 for 4 gigs of high-speed data. You know, and their data is fast. You know, there's no getting around that. So I'm going to look at some more of their individual plans. That's their new plan, so they have that posted out front on the website. But digging deep into their plans, they've got $45 for 4 gigs of high-speed data, and it's unlimited, and you're throttled after that. Then they've got $55 for 6 gigs of high-speed data. And then those are the only 2 that I see on here. Then they said they have $75 for unlimited. So you'll get 30 gigs of high-speed data for $75. Now, T-Mobile used to have some of the best plans, but I don't see them as having the best plans now. So let's talk about, now we've gotten over all the plans from some of these companies, let's talk about coverage. So looking at coverage on these and voice calls, and again, I've never used Sprint, so I won't talk about them, but I have used, like for the prepaid. So I have used Verizon's prepaid service, and the voice calls are great. No drop calls, everything about it, I really like it. And just the overall experience with Verizon's service is actually works flawlessly in this office. I mean, it works really, really good. No problems at all. Because if you can't make phone calls, what is the purpose of having that? You know, I just don't get it. Also, I've had AT&T's prepaid before. Their services are actually really solid. Phone calls were great. Just great over the network. It's just been really good, and I have never had any drop calls with the AT&T, and that's just what it is. Now, T-Mobile, on the other hand, they may have the faster data speeds and everything, but unfortunately, T-Mobile's network, I think, is taking a hit. And this is one of the reasons why I switched my main SIM card over to a different carrier, and I'll talk about that in just a second. T-Mobile's network, I think, is taking a huge hit because they're getting a lot of customers, and I don't think they were ready for that. I mean, they picked up another 1.1 million customers last quarter. That's a lot of customers. And then they're having to balance and prioritize who's getting what. And the prepaid is definitely at the bottom of the list. But I had a postpaid account, even though I wasn't under any kind of contract, because I had a plan that was grandfathered, the 2 for 100, and I just felt like, oh, I better not let this go. I'm gonna miss out. After not being able to make phone calls, and I'm on a business call, and people are saying, "Man, you sound horrible, dude. That just doesn't sound right." I got frustrated to the last. I said, I can't do it anymore. So I looked at AT&T, I looked at Verizon, and I thought the best fit for me at this very moment would be Cricket, which runs on AT&T's network. So Cricket actually has, now it's kind of weird, but AT&T, the parent company, their data speeds are maxed at 3 megabytes per second for their prepaid, but Cricket is maxed at 8 megabytes per second, and I actually get 8 megabytes per second. And I thought that was interesting that Cricket gets a higher download speed than the parent company. Kind of weird, but I'm running a speed test right here. Kind of weird. And remember, I'm in my office, and they promise 8, and I'm over LTE. What am I getting? I'm getting 8. So Cricket is very accurate in their numbers. What did I get? I got 8.5. So Cricket, first of all, I want to say it wasn't about the data speeds. I just wanted to say that because I was talking about Cricket's service compared to AT&T. It runs on the same network, but Cricket is allotted more data speed than AT&T's prepaid. That makes no sense. So I got 11 megabytes up, which is just freaking amazing, and then 8 down. And look at that ping, it was 107. So that surprised me that Cricket was allotted more speeds. So if I do need to stream a movie, I'll be able to stream it. This is why I didn't go with AT&T's prepaid service. Now, Verizon, I have Verizon phones. I have phones that'll work on Verizon, and I was going to use my Moto G5 Plus because it works on Verizon. I also have a Moto G4 Play that'll work on Verizon. However, I didn't go with Verizon because they only offered. Okay, so Cricket, I chose the $40 plan. I chose the $40 basic plan, and I get a $5 discount just for setting up auto pay, and I get a group discount. So if I want to add on a phone later, Cricket is definitely treating me right if I want to do that. But with Verizon, the only reason I didn't go with the Verizon $40 plan is because there were no discounts on anything. My military discount didn't apply. My law enforcement discount, none of my discounts applied to Verizon if it was a prepaid. Now, my postpaid, if I was going to go with Verizon, yeah, I get a discount. But with Verizon's prepaid, it's $40 for the one I was going to choose, but you only get 2 gigs of data, and you get unlimited talk and text, and then they have data. It's called Data Saver or something like that, where basically they just throttle you when you run out of data. But all companies are doing that now. So I found Cricket, and even though I know Verizon's voice calls are probably going to be better, I was like, I'm going to save myself $5. I mean, $35 is what I pay per month. I get 3 gigs of high-speed data, and I get high-speed data at 8 megabytes. So even though Verizon doesn't cap their data from what I can see, it still was a better choice to go with AT&T, or Cricket, which is basically AT&T. It was a better choice to go with them. And for me, I need to be able to make phone calls right here, and if I need to check something outside on the go or just in this office and I don't have Wi-Fi available, I need it to work. And believe it or not, I have T-Mobile still, but it's just that my main SIM card is not on T-Mobile anymore, unfortunately. And we've been with them for a long time, and it was a postpaid, it wasn't a prepaid, but we've been with them for a long time. And I had to do what was best for me. I can't, because I have a lot of expensive phones laying around. I mean, phones that are over $500, $600, $700, and I need to be able to test them. And that's another reason why I didn't go with Verizon, because I won't be able to swap my SIM card in and out when I'm testing a device. Because when I'm testing a device, I use my main SIM card there in the phone, and I need to be able to do that. And with Verizon, I can't do. I would only be able to buy Verizon phones, or phones like the Moto G5 Plus that are unlocked for all carriers, and there are not a lot of phones out there like this. You see, so the smart choice for me was to go ahead and go with Cricket, and it's my choice. I'm not saying anybody should switch to Cricket. I'm just saying that Cricket running in my area, it penetrates well. My calls are. Everybody says, "Man, you sound great. Did you get a new phone?" I'm like, "No, I switched providers." So, with that being said, I think I avoided it for a long time, but I'm only paying $35, and I'm only getting 3 gigs of high-speed data. But I have Wi-Fi everywhere. Like when I leave the house, I have hotspot wherever I go. So if I just really need Wi-Fi, I'll be able to get it. But I don't need Wi-Fi everywhere. I just maybe need to make sure my emails are coming through. I just need to be able to get on the internet when I want to. And I tested it out. Normally when I go through the car wash with my T-Mobile phone, when I have my T-Mobile SIM in there, I lose complete service in the car wash. With AT&T, I kept service. I stayed on a phone call. I was actually on the internet too. I was like, wow. And I say AT&T again because it's on Cricket's network. This is not a Cricket phone. This is an AT&T phone. And that's another thing with Cricket. I can pick up any AT&T phone and put my SIM card in it. With T-Mobile and Metro, you can't do that, and I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand it. But that's the great part about me going with Cricket, because I can take any unlocked phone or any Cricket phone or any AT&T phone. It just pop your SIM card in there and it picks up the data services. It works immediately, full LTE. So I switched my main SIM card. I switched my main SIM card to Cricket/AT&T, and I am very happy at this moment. $35 a month for 3 gigs of data, high speed at 8 megabytes per second. That's more than enough for me. And I get unlimited talk and text. I really got it for the talk and text because I have a lot of phone calls that come in. I mean, a lot, folks. I get a lot of phone calls, and I need my phone to work. So that's my reasoning for switching. You guys probably heard me talk about this in another video, but that is why I switched carriers. I need to be able to make phone calls. Yeah, I like T-Mobile. Great company. John Ledger's a great guy, but it doesn't do me any good if I can't make phone calls in my office or when I'm on the go or I'm just talking somewhere. Everybody says the call dropped, and it does drop too. But that has not been the case with Cricket, man. This is a great prepaid. Oh, bumpy cam. Man, I almost did it. I almost made it through. Shoot. Hashtag bumpy cam. Sorry, guys. I just got to say that I'm happy with Cricket. I've been using them for a little bit now, and I am super happy. And I know that I'm happy because I actually set up autopay to get that $5 off, and I never do autopay. I've been with T-Mobile for 24 years, and I don't do autopay. Nope. I need to pay that bill, and I want to pay it. I pay it early, but this bill is just going to be a $35 flat. Taxes and fees are included, so that's good. So it's your man Jay Will. Let me know in the comment what your provider is, whether it's prepaid or postpaid, or whoever you're with. Let me know. Give me some pointers on what you think about your current carrier. Do you have Cricket, by the way? I want to know what your thoughts is and your experiences on Cricket. So I would love to know. It's your man Jay Will. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.